Hello everyone, welcome to this session on naive-Bayes implementation. Earlier in separate session, we have discussed about this naive-Bayes algorithm, how it works and how to implement it with sklearn library. Today I will show you like exactly if some data set is given to me, how naive-Bayes algorithm can be used to predict the outcome for the set of data. Okay, so I will just show you with a sample data set. We'll do the process in a step-by-step manner, and I will try to predict the outcome for a set of feature values supplied. Okay, so for that I will give a quick introduction to naive-Bayes algorithm, how it works. Now, this naive-Bayes algorithm is based on Bayes theorem. The Bayes theorem says that the probability of an event based on the presence of another event is decided by this calculation. Okay, if A and B are two events, then the probability of the event A given B is equal to the probability of event B given A multiplied by probability of event A and then divided by probability of event B. So this equation, this theorem is known as Bayes theorem, and naive-Bayes algorithm is based on this theorem only, but there are few terminology which are being used in naive-Bayes for these components of this equation. So probability of event A given B, it is the conditional probability that event A occurs given that B has occurred. So this probability is known as the posterior probability. So if you go back to the equation again, so here actually we are trying to find out the posterior probability. Okay, and probability of A and probability of B, these are the probabilities of the events A and B without regard of each other. Okay, so this is the individual probability, and probability of A is the prior probability. Okay, and probability of B given the event A has occurred, so this conditional probability, it is known as likelihood. So you can understand that when I have to find out the probability of event A given the probability of event B, then I should know the three components as given in the right part of the equation. Okay, so when we are going to implement the naive-Bayes algorithm, so you can assume that B is some feature value and A is the target value. Okay, so here in the naive-Bayes algorithm, our purpose is that given a set of feature values, I want to predict the target value. Now, what are the steps in naive-Bayes algorithm? It is this: first of all, we convert the data set into a frequency table. So what is a frequency table? How to create the frequency table, that I will show you. Next comes, it creates a likelihood table by finding the probabilities of the events to occur. So if I go back again here, you can see what is likelihood. It is the conditional probability of event B when event A has occurred. Okay, so I am going to create the likelihood table also, so you can match now that probability of B means here the event B is the feature value and the event A is actually the possible target value. Okay, the naive-Bayes equation is used to compute the posterior probability of each class. So again, posterior probability is nothing but this conditional probability of event A given event B. So if say I have two target classes, okay, say I have some data set where I have to find out that it is a Titanic data set. So I have to find out that whether the person survived or not. So here we may have two possible target classes. One is that survival equal to 1, another is that the survival equal to 0. So what I am going to do in this naive-Bayes algorithm, I am going to find out the probability for the the target value where survival equal to 1, I will find the probability. Then I will find the probability of survival equal to 0. Then when I get the two probabilities, then what is my decision that whether the person survived or not based on some feature set, say, so I take the higher posterior probability. So these are the steps, but I will show you with a specific data set. So if you can be clear on that, then if any data set is given, then this Naive Bayes, the logic may be implemented on the data set and you may find the target value. So I will go to the data set now. Okay. So this is my data set. This is the data table given. Here there are 4 columns you can see in the data set. One is known as the content, another is the email length, third one is attachment, and fourth one is spam. I just want to tell you that first 3 columns, they are the features, and the last column, that is spam, that is the target value. So you can see here from this, you may now should understand that this data is about the email spam detection, that whether an email is a spam or not. So here the target class is whether the email is a spam or not. So there are 2 possible target classes. One is spam equal to yes and another is spam equal to no. So there are 2 possible target classes and I have been given with 3 features. One feature is content, and if you just check the values given, you will find that there are 3 possible values in the content feature and they are offer, free and money. So these are the 3 possible values for this feature named as content. Now I will go to the second feature, that is email length. Now what is the length of the email? So there are again 2 possible values that are given in the data set. One value is short, another value is long. Now if you go to the third feature, that is attachment, again this attachment feature has 2 values. One is image, another is document. So the attachment may be an image, the attachment may be a document. So these are the 3 features given and the outcome is also given. That, say, if you just consider the first record, so you can understand that when the content of the email is offered, email length is short and the attachment is an image, then the mail was detected as a spam. Now if you consider this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th record, you can see that when the content has a word money, email length is long and attachment is image, then the mail was detected as not spam. So what is my purpose here? I want to develop the algorithm in such a way with this training data so that when any set of any combination of values for these 3 features are given, then I have to predict that whether that email message is a spam or not. Okay, that is the purpose. So this data table is given to me. If you go back to the presentation, it is saying that first convert the data set into a frequency table. So data set is given to me. So the first step I have to do is I have to create a frequency table. So what is a frequency table? It is nothing but the presence of the content, the number of occurrences of the values for the features and the target values. Okay, so if you just see the example how I have done it, then it should be clear to you. So now how I have created the frequency table? The first I have divided this target value, okay, because I have to do some relationship that what is the number of of a particular value of a feature given spam equal to yes, or when the number of values of a particular feature given spam equal to no. So that's why as there are two possible values for the target, so I have just separated them. So actually if you just count here in this data set, you will find that there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 records where spam equal to yes, and there are total 6 records where spam equal to no. So actually there are total 14 records in this data set. Okay, among the 14, these 8 records are yes and 6 records are no. So I have just mentioned this spam equal to yes in bracket. I have written 8. That means that this data set has spam equal to yes values in 8 records and spam equal to no value in 6 records. Okay, now for this all these spam equal to yes, I am trying to find that what are the values in the feature set. So now you know that there are 3 features, so I have written them: content, email length and attachment. Okay, similarly for spam equal to no also I have written content, email length and attachment. Now what is my purpose? You know that for this content feature there are 3 possible values: offer, free and money. Now I am trying to find out that how many occurrences are there for this value offer for the feature named content when spam equal to yes. So if you go back again here, you can see, just let us try to find out that where the content value is offer when spam equal to yes. So I can see here 2 offer values where spam equal to yes. Now I scroll down, here also I found 2 offer values, but here the spam value is no, so I am not considering this. Then again here also it is no. So you can find out that there are total 5 offers in this table. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and among the 5 offers, these 2 offer records where the spam equal to yes. So that's why you can see that here I have written content offer, here the number 2 is written. So what does that mean? That when spam equal to yes, there are 2 content records where the value offer is present. Okay, now if you see for spam equal to no, here you can find that content offer equal to 3, because I found that in the data set there are 3 occurrences of the word offer in the content feature given spam equal to no. Similarly, I have found the occurrences of the word free, the number of occurrences of the word money in content when spam equal to yes and spam equal to no, and for email length also and for attachment also I have done the same thing. So if you follow this frequency table and if you go to the data table, you will be able to match. So I have just found out the number of occurrences of each possible values among the in the each of the features given the different possible target values. So when I have found all these counts for all the feature values and given the specific target value, then this table is known as the frequency table. So I have completed the first step in the process where I need to convert the data set into a frequency table. So the next step is that I have to create a likelihood table by finding the probabilities of the events to occur. Now you know what is the likelihood table. Likelihood is the probability of B, conditional probability of event B when the event A has occurred, right? So that is the likelihood table. So let us go back here. So frequency table is ready. Now I am trying to create the likelihood table. So in the likelihood table, you can understand that this target value, that is the event A. Now this event A can be of 2 possible values, means either it can be a spam, either it can be no spam. So what I am doing, I am trying to find the value of P for offer given spam, means when the mail is a spam, then what is the probability of the event offer, means the value of the content feature is offered. Similarly, I have done this for all possible values of content, all possible values of email length and all possible values of attachment given the target value is spam. Similarly, I have done this calculation for all the possible values of this feature content, then email length, and then the attachment when the target value is no spam. Now how I am calculating this, you can see here what I have written, 2 by 8. Why? Because if you again go back, you can see that there are total 8 spam messages, and in this 8 there are 2 records where offer equal to 2. That's why the P of offer given spam, it is 2 by 8. Similarly for free it is 3. So it is 3 by 8. For money it is 3 by 8. For short it is 6 by 8, and so on. So I have just taken this first value from this value number of occurrences of each of the feature divided by the number of spam messages. Okay, so that is how I have created the likelihood table when the value of target is spams. Similarly I have generated the different probabilities of all these feature values given the message is a no spam. So as there are total 6 number of messages which are not spam, so that's why you can see in the right hand side, while I am dividing this number of occurrences of the feature values, I have divided it by 6. So it is 3 by 6, 1 by 6, 2 by 6, and so on. So when I have generated all these probabilities, then I have actually created the likelihood table. So the second step is also done, where creates a likelihood table by finding the probabilities of the events to occur. So what is the third step? The third step is the Navier-Bayes equation is used to compute the posterior probability of each class. Now what is the posterior probability? It is the probability of A given probability of B. So here what is my A? It is either it is a spam or it is a not spam. So I have to find the posterior probability. For first of all, I have to find the posterior probability when A equal to spam, and then again I have to find the posterior probability when event A equal to no spam. So I will go back to my file. So I have so far created the frequency table and the likelihood table. Now I am going to the equation. So this is the first equation where I am trying to find the probability of spam given these 3 features. As I am working with 3 features together, so I have given 3 values here. If you have only one feature, say you have only content, then you will find only the probability of spam given the feature value is, say, offer or free or money, etc. Okay, so the first thing what I am doing, I am finding the probability of target value spam when feature value is offered, email length is long, and attachment is image. So you can find that as there are few possible values for feature, email length, and attachment, so there can be many combination of these feature values. I have taken only one combination where feature equal to this feature content equal to offer, email length equal to long, and attachment equal to image. Okay, so I am trying to find that probability, that if this content equal to offer, email length equal to long, and attachment equal to image, then what is the probability that the email message can be spam. Okay, so when I am trying to find this probability, I will refer the Bayes theorem. I will use that same equation. So here what I am writing, so you can understand that here A equal to spam and B equal to offer comma long comma image. So that's why it is equal to probability of spam into probability of offer given spam into long given spam and image given spam. So this is actually the likelihood part. This is the probability of A divided by probability of B. Now here B consists of 3 events, so that's why we have multiplied these 3. That means P of offer, P of long, and P of image. Now how to calculate those values? I have written some values here. You can also write it. It's very easy. So what is the probability of spam? You know that there are total 14 records. Among the 14 records, there are 8 records where spam value was yes in the target column. So that's why I have written probability of spam equal to 8 by 14. okay, and then I have probability of offer given spam, probability of long given spam, and probability of image given spam. So these values are present in the likelihood table. So you can refer the likelihood table, and I have just replaced these three values here, that is 2 by 8 into 2 by 8 into 4 by 8 divided by, I have to find the individual probability of these values, that is probability of offer. Now if you again go back to the frequency table, you will find that as there are total 14 records, and among 14 records there are 5 records where the content value is offer. So that's why the probability of offer equal to 5 by 14. Similarly, the probability of long equal to 6 by 14. Probability of image equal to 7 by 14. If you just go back here in the data table again, let us count how many images are there in this record set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can understand that there are total 14 records. Among the 14 records, 7 records have this attachment image. So that's why the probability of image given, only the probability of image is 7 by 14. So I have just written this, I have done the calculation, and it came out as 0.23. Now I will just change it, and now I am calculating the probability for no spam, where these same values, okay, same set of feature values, means content equal to offer, email length equal to long, and the attachment equal to image, okay, and that is equal to probability of no spam into probability of offer given no spam, probability of long given no spam into probability of image given no spam, divided by probability of offer, probability of long, probability of image. Now P of no spam equal to 6 by 14, because there are total 14 records in the data set, and 6 of them have the target value, that is spam column value, as no. So that's why the probability of no spam is 6 by 14. Then these likelihood parts, these three things I have taken from the likelihood table, these three values, 3 by 6, 4 by 6 into 3 by 6, and then at the end I have divided by probability of offer, probability of long, and probability of image. So when I calculated this, it came out as 0.93. So you can see that when a same set of feature values are given, the probability of spam came out as 0.23, and when I calculated the probability of no spam, it came out as 0.93. Now if you again go back to the steps, the last step is telling the class with the higher posterior probability is the outcome of the prediction. So here you can understand that when I am calculating the probability that whether the message is a spam given a fixed set of feature values, so I found that it was 0.23, and when I am calculating the probability that the message will be no spam, the probability is coming as 0.93. So of course I can understand that here the probability that the message is not a spam is more. So I will consider this as the predicted value. That means if any message now comes to me with content has this offer value, and the message is long, and the attachment is an image, then I will predict that this email message is not a spam. So you can understand that if I do this probability calculation for all possible feature values, whether it's a spam and a not spam, then I can predict, I can make a prediction set that okay, when this combination of features are given, then whether the mail is a spam or not spam. So I can do this with the training data set, and when any test data is given to me with a particular combination, then I can compare the probabilities, and wherever the probability is more, I will predict that target value for that given set of feature set. So this is how Naive Bayes algorithm actually works. Okay, so I think that's it. That is what I wanted to say. Rest part of it, like the assumptions, advantages, disadvantages, and the implementation with sklearn library, those things are already discussed in different sessions. So I hope you found this session useful. Let me know your comments, please. Thank you very much.